Hey there guys, welcome to the next tutorial here on the channel. This tutorial is going to be on how to make the awesome Captain America duct tape helmet, which you can see here. You're going to need three main colors for this tutorial. The first one being dark blue. You're going to need a little bit of white duct tape as well as a little bit of brown. Now I'm going to be kind of going through this tutorial pretty quickly because if I don't, this tutorial is going to be really long. So I'm going to kind of just going to go through it quickly. And before we get started here on our first step, I have a few tips that I want to share with you before we get started. Alright, tip number one, when you're making your helmet, remember that the helmet does go over the eyes. So that's very important when you are making your helmet, especially the cap here. So make sure you do remember that it does go over your eyes and that you'll have to cut eye holes for it. The second one is that, the second tip that I have is that if you have someone to help you out, like a sibling or a parent, they're definitely going to come in handy later on when you're trying to fit this to your head. So if you have someone to help you out, it's going to make your job that much easier. And the third one is that it's going to take a little bit of time to make this helmet look good. I mean, it took me a long time to make this, so when I'm going through my tutorial here, it may not seem like it's as good as this one. I'm kind of just giving you guys the basic idea on how to do it, and then you can spend as much time or as little time on it as you want to make it look just like this one here. So let's get started here on the tutorial. So for your first step, what you're going to do is you're going to take several blue strips of tape and you're going to stick them together to make a very long continuous sheet, no sticky side showing, and you're going to connect it into a circle like this. And you want the circle to be able to fit over top of your head like this, and you want it to fit over the top of your ears as well as over your eyes, and it should rest right on the bridge of your nose like here, like a pair of glasses. So it covers the top part of your ears and rests on your nose like this, kind of like a blindfold. As soon as you've gotten that, you've gotten the right size. You don't want it to be too tight and you don't want it to be too loose. So you should be able to get it on and off fairly easily. It's going to look a little goofy at first, but this is going to be the bottom part of your cap that you're going to make, and now we're going to make a giant dome on the top here. That's the trickiest part of the entire helmet. So here comes the tricky part. You're going to take your piece here, which is going to be the start of your helmet. You're going to cut out several strips that are varying lengths. See how, like, I have some here that are like 9 inches long. I have 2 of those. Then I have a couple that are 7 inches long and 4 inches long. And I have 2 each of those. Basically what you're going to do here is you're going to start on the bottom of your sheet here. You're just going to pick a spot and you want to just apply the longest strip on there just like that. And then what you're going to do is that you have that sheet already stuck down. You're going to take your second one, come on the inside here, and you're just going to stick that directly on top of it like this to cover up the rest of that sticky side. It's going to be a little tricky because, you know, you're working like inside the thing here, but it should be too difficult. Shouldn't be too difficult. So you're going to stick that down. It doesn't have to be perfect on the inside, bear in mind, because no one's going to see the inside except your hair. Then you're going to take your ones that are slightly smaller and you're just going to build on this like you're building on a pyramid. And the reason why you make this pyramid design is because when the cap is on top of your head, this basically allows it to flex better because it's not actually connected on the bottom, it's connected and tapered onto the top. So now we have our 4-inch strips, and then we're going to put those on the top here. And believe it or not, this is how I made my Captain America helmet, so should come out pretty good towards the end here. So if this happens, you know, it might get a little bit messed up. You can either rip it off and start again or just try to fix it. And we connect the bottom part here, or at least the top part. So now it's going to look like this. Now what you want to do is you actually want to keep doing this on the other side. So if I were to put this one on here, I was going to put another one on the other side here and then a smaller one over here. You kind of want to start with 3 of them, so you've got 3 pyramids started, and then eventually what we're going to do is we're going to shape that to a point at the top where we're going to connect them all and then fill in the gaps from there. So do the exact step that I did here. You might have to make them a little bit smaller, like this one's going to be about this small, and then this one will be even smaller over here. But you just want to continue that pyramid design with the bigger ones on the bottom, then smaller all the way up, and then we'll start making the part of the cap, which is basically a giant dome, and this is how you pretty much make the dome. So continue with that steps and build those pyramids on the other side. So after you build a few more pyramids around that strip that you've made, you're pretty much going to come up with this, a crazy looking blue crown. But that's exactly what you want. Now, like I said before at the very beginning of the tutorial, this is where your helper is definitely going to come in handy. You need to put this back on. Kind of looks like I came back from Burger King, but a little joke in there. Anyway, you're going to put it back on your face like this. Make sure it's over your ears again and on the bridge of your nose, and your helper is going to tell you exactly how far you need to go to connect these on the top of your head. And most of them are kind of meet directly on the top of your head here. So I just by feeling it, I can tell I have a few more strips to go, and then I'll be able to connect a few. Your helper is eventually going to help you put these strips and connect them into the center to make it a really good dome. Believe me, you definitely need a helper with this, because trying to do it by feel is pretty much impossible, because you're going to be applying strips, and trying to do it by feel is impossible. So let's hop back over to my station. We'll connect a few on the top, and then we'll start with those strips around the sides, and we'll start making our dome. Okay, so now we're back at my workstation here. In between the last scene, I put this back on my head. I had a helper connect these 3 strips, so now my 3 pyramids are now connected on the top. You want to make sure that it's on your head when your helper connects these, because that will make sure that the entire dome is exactly curved to the shape of your head. If it's not on your head when you curve the dome, I guarantee it's probably going to be off. So now you can start to see the dome take shape. There are some holes in it. We're going to plug those up pretty soon. And yeah, so now you start to see the dome, and now we're going to take some strips and stick those on. But like I said, you're going to put this back on your head again, and I'll show you the strips that you're going to have your helper stick on. So let's show those right now. Okay, so to make the strips that are going to cover up these holes here, it's really simple to do this, and saves a lot of time. If you just cut out a longer strip like this, take a shorter strip, and then just stick it directly in the middle here, and then you have sticky parts on both ends that you can use to connect it. Now I know it's really tempting to just work with it and stick this right on here without even thinking about it, but believe me, you want to put this back on your head and have your helper stick this on, because only they're going to know exactly how much to curve it when it's on your head. So believe me, take the time, put this back on your head, and get a helper to stick this on and curve it exactly the way you want it to. Because otherwise, there's no way you're going to know how much it's supposed to curve, and it's going to really wreck you up later on. So make sure that you take the strips like this, cover up all the holes, and then we'll have pretty much our entire dome. So do that step now. It's going to take a few minutes, but believe me, it's well worth it. So do those steps right now. So this is what it's going to look like after you've gotten a whole bunch of strips applied. We've covered up all the holes, at least pretty much all of them. And I want to show you a few things that you can run into with this part here. Number one are lines where you can see the adhesive. Now those can be really easily be cleared up with just a strip of duct tape stuck on top. So you can cover that up with more duct tape, no problem there. Another thing I want to talk about are these here. And this is kind of where the duct tape bunches up. Usually you can't really do too much about those holes. You can pretty much just cover them up with a smaller piece of tape, and then you won't be able to see them. If you end up with really tiny holes like this, a really easy way to deal with that, strip of tape over top and then go on the inside and just cover up the rest of the sticky side, which will obviously be sticking this way. Otherwise it'll get stuck on your head, and well, that won't be too much fun. Another thing that you can run into is if the tape kind of bunches up like this. The really easy way to deal with that is to cut along where it is, and this will allow the tape to flex, and then from there you can fold it underneath or over top depending on what you need to do, and then stick a piece of tape over that, and that'll allow it to flex. Because remember, duct tape doesn't want to usually make a circular object. It doesn't want to curve too well, but you have to force it to do that for this helmet. So we've pretty much gotten the dome shape now. Let's work on the straps on the side as well as the markings on it, and we'll have our helmet. Now for the earpieces, I wish I could direct you guys to like an image or like a picture of it online that could really help you out, but unfortunately there isn't really one, so I had to come up with one freehand for the other one that I made. This is pretty much exactly what it looks like. You're going to take 2 brown strips of tape that are 6 inches long, which is from this point here to this point here, stick them next to each other, and then do your best to cut out this design from those 2 strips. And once you get one that you want to use, you want to peel it up. You do not want to stick this on your helmet just yet. You want to make an exact duplicate of it. So once you get the one you want, flip it upside down, take 2 more strips, and then trace it onto a different 2 other strips of tape, and then you'll have 2 of them. And now what we're going to do is take these earpieces and stick them onto our helmet here. So let's do that right now. So we take our helmet here, and I put it on, and I marked with a pen where my ears are going to be. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this piece here, and this is kind of the line where it's going to end up on our helmet. So I have my mark, which is right about there, and I'm going to take this, I'm going to stick it directly onto that piece right there, just like that. Okay, but bear in mind this is still sticky under here, so be careful with that. You're going to come to the other side, and you're going to do exactly the same thing. I'm going to find that middle piece, should be right about there. And now you want to be very careful to actually try it on and see if your earlobes kind of end up exactly in the middle of this piece here, because if it's not in the right spot, you can always adjust it. So do that step now, and then we'll cover up the rest of the sticky side on these here. So to cover up the rest of the sticky side, we're going to take 2 strips of tape, stick them on just like that, overlapping by a lot. Peel the whole thing up very carefully. And I trust you can probably figure out exactly where to cut with your pair of scissors to know exactly how much you want to do it here for your earpiece. So you just want to very carefully trim off all the sticky side here. And I've already done it to the other one. So there's one piece, and do the exact same thing on this side. Be careful not to leave any sticky side showing, and then we'll work on the strap and just the little other cosmetic features, and we'll have our helmet. Okay, at this point I'm sure we're pretty much strapped on time, so I'm going to try to cover this other stuff as fast as possible. To make the strap, all you have to do is make a long strip of tape, cut it in half a few times, and you have your long strap here. The chin piece here is just a longer strip stuck on top there, cut in kind of like a octagon shape, and that's gets attached to your chin. That gets attached to the side of the earpiece here, and that eventually will wrap around to connect to the other earpiece. And you can adjust the length of it, you know, depending on how big your chin is, but you want your chin to end up right in the center of this piece here. The A and the wings are pretty much all done freehand. That's what I did for my other helmet, and that's what I did for this one. You can pretty much make them as nice or as crazy as you want them to. These came out pretty nice, as you can see there, as well as the A. And that, of course, leaves us with the little part for your nose. You can cut that out, as well as a spot for your eyes. Do not try to cut the eye holes when you are wearing the mask. I thought that would be pretty much self-explanatory, but I'm going to put that out there anyway. Don't try to cut these when you're actually wearing it, because that can just end up, well, it can end up pretty bad for you. So make sure you're cutting these with an X-Acto knife or a pair of scissors when it's off and in your hands like this. And you're gonna pretty much just gonna have to guess on where it is, but you can, with a little bit of practice, you can kind of tell exactly where the eye holes are. And I think that pretty much covers everything. So let's kind of wrap up this this video here. Okay guys, so that's how to make a Captain America duct tape helmet out of completely duct tape. Now, it's actually pretty cool. This is the one I just made here on the tutorial, and this is the one that I made originally, so it does actually look pretty similar, which is pretty amazing because every duct tape creation is unique. I know it was a long tutorial, so thank you guys for sticking through it if you did, and now you can hopefully make a really awesome duct tape helmet here. If you want to make the chin strap really nice, you can put a little piece of duct tape up here, or you can put a little bit of Velcro, which is what I have on this one. And you can adjust it as tight as you want. That's kind of like why it's falling off here. But that's kind of how to make a duct tape Captain America helmet. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you guys really hurry up, you can make one of these and wear it to the premiere of the Avengers. But that's how to make it. And hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. I know it was long, but believe me, it is well worth it making one of these awesome helmets. So take care. I'll catch you guys next time.